Coming to paperback and e-readers from SJS Direct, Isis, House of Isis, the goddess next door takes on a hustling Hotep high priestess in Harlem in this Afrocentric Isis series adventure. Pre-order Isis, House of Isis on Amazon.com today. President Donald Trump met with several executives in the video game industry, proposing that violent video games were responsible for the escalation in mass shootings. According to President Trump, many of the mass shooters played violent video games, and because they played violent video games, this was one of the inspirations for them to participate in these horrific acts of violence. However, this is a deflection to keep Donald Trump from committing political suicide, because 60% of white women voted for Donald Trump and 30% of Hispanic women voted for Donald Trump. And to hold many of these women who are single mothers accountable for their sons would mean committing political suicide and giving the Democrats the White House in 2020. Because the real reason why we are having this escalation in mass shootings is not video games. Video games are just entertainment. They have video games in Japan that are far more violent than anything in America. However, Japan has the lowest crime rate in the world. No, the real reason why we have this escalation in mass shootings is due to the single mother household. And America has the largest amount of single mother households in the world. And the real reason why we are having this escalation in mass shootings is due to the fact that we have raised 2 to 3 generations of beta males, and many of these beta males are having a hard time navigating a course in life. And the reason why these beta males are having a hard time navigating a course in life is because they have been socialized to act like females by female authorities, and then they're entering a world where they are being judged and held to a standard as a male, something they don't understand because they have never had a father in their life and they have never been taught anything regarding male authority or how to conduct themselves socially as a man. And because they're going out into a world with female social traits, what they're doing is short-circuiting when they go out into a world which expects them to act like a man, but they have been taught how to behave just like a woman. And because they are short-circuiting, what is happening is these males are becoming angry and frustrated, and as they simmer and boil in their anger and frustration, eventually they wind up having an eventual short circuit, which leads to them exploding in this rage. And this is something Donald Trump doesn't want to talk about, because in order to talk about this issue would mean confronting many of these females out here about the gynocentric way we have been raising boys since the late 1960s and how that has led to this escalation in violence. Because I can go back as far as 1984 with one of the first mass shootings in history and see this pattern starting to emerge, because as I studied these mass shootings from that incident way back in 1984 at McDonald's to the Luby's incident and several other incidents, I can clearly see a pattern emerging regarding single mothers, and I can see a pattern emerging regarding the mental health of these males. Because the reason why these males are having these mental health issues is because they are trying to use this female logic in a world that expects them to be men. And then the situation is made worse by the addition of psychotropic drugs, which many of these men are given because women do not want to deal with a boy, and they don't want to deal with a boy being a boy because they don't know how to deal with a boy being a boy. So this boy, who's been medicated and wound up sometimes placed in special ed and is trying to navigate a course in the world, does not know how to do this because there are no male figures, and many of the male figures in his society have been castigated and degraded, and he's been taught things like toxic masculinity, and that being a boy and being a man is bad, and that men are usually presented as bumbling, stumbling idiots So this boy is not learning anything about regarding the value of being a man, the worth of being a man, and how a man contributes to society. So the boy is sitting there and he's learning that he has no worth, he has no value, and he's trying to navigate a course for his own survival. And when he sees that there is no course for his survival, what he does is he realizes he has nothing to lose, and this is why these guys explode in rage and participate in these horrific acts of violence known as mass shootings. But your Donald Trump has shown that he is more concerned with getting the vote of white women and women in general than solving the problem as related to these mass shootings. No, he would rather blame the video game industry rather than confront who the real person is accountable for this escalation in mass shootings. Because we can do a direct correlation between most of these mass shooters and single mother households. Moreover, we can do a direct correlation between all of these single mother households and an uptick and escalation in violence in America, because most of the criminals in America, they all come from single mother households. And many of these single mother households were created back in the 1960s and the 1970s through the welfare state and through no fault divorce. However, your President Donald Trump, as brash and as brusque as he is, will not make those statements because he does not want to alienate the large base of female voters who helped put him in the White House. No, he wants to keep those female voters placated, and that shows us he is not really interested in making America great again, because part of what making America great again would be confronting the gynocentric state and holding it accountable for creating this 2 to 3 generations of beta males who are ticking time bombs and can explode at any moment. When it comes down to the violence of mass shooters, the violence of mass shooters is a direct byproduct of single mother households. And your President Donald Trump has shown he has no interest in stopping the violence, because if he really wanted to stop this violence, it would mean confronting these females about the way they are raising boys and making efforts to develop a campaign to help rebuild masculinity here in America. Because if you really want to make America great again, you would be focusing on rebuilding masculinity, redefining manhood, and reestablishing male authority. Because that's the only way you're going to have a great America again. Because it's males who are in authority who make efforts to preserve the civilization, protect the civilization, and protect the culture. And many of these men, because they see no value for themselves in the civilization and see no value in the culture, this is why they're going out here to destroy people's lives by participating in these mass shootings. Because these males see no sense of worth or value for themselves in a gynocentric state which elevates women and gives women power, they don't see any value for themselves as men. This is why they're going out here and participating in these acts of violence and murdering dozens of innocent people. So if we really are serious about solving the problem as related to this mass shooting epidemic, we're going to have to really confront these females. And it's clear to me that your President Donald Trump, for all of his bluster, does not have the backbone or the stones to confront these females out here, these single mothers, and hold them accountable for creating these 2 to 3 generations of beta males, nor does he have the backbone or the stones to confront the gynocentric state of feminists and social justice warriors and hold them accountable for creating the infrastructure which creates this dysfunction and creates this dysfunction as a social norm, nor does he have the backbone or the stones to confront many of these employers out here to create a work schedule so that families can have time to be together and fathers can have a place in the home. This is a very comprehensive thing we're going to have to do to stop these mass shooters, and this is something that your President Donald Trump has shown me he does not have the backbone to do, nor does he have the leadership ability or the vision to do, because if we really want to make efforts to stop these mass shooters, we have to understand where these mass shooters come from, and then set a comprehensive plan to deal with them. These mass shootings are going to get worse before they get better because, again, we have a large population of beta males out there. Beta males who feel like they have no place in society, and because they feel like they have no place and no value, this is why they're participating in these spectrum of violence. Because not only are these beta males participating in mass shootings, they are also participating in domestic violence, and they are killing not only their wives, they're killing their children, they're killing their families, and some of them are killing themselves. And when it comes down to this male, the reason why he is out here destroying things is because he sees no value in himself and no place for himself in a country which is supposed to be a land of opportunity. But when he takes a look at America, he sees a place where there is no opportunity for him. And when Donald Trump goes out here and says he's going to make America great again, and he tried to rally all these white men behind him, he literally threw all those white men under the bus when he blamed violent video games for all these mass shooters instead of calling out these white females and all of these single mothers out here for creating that generation of beta males which have grown up to become all of these mass shooters. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to try some of my SJS Direct publications, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.